But I want to make something a little unusual. All right, let's make a high-tech thing. So let's make a new particle 2D. And let's just have 4 particles. And I need a new process material. And I've got this nice tech circle. So I'm going to go to textures and bring in my nice tech circle. This is from a GIMP brush of tech effects that I bought a few years back. You can actually use it for free. I don't have it listed, so I'm glad I bought it. And let's turn off our gravity. Okay, so it's just a very basic thing, right? So some things we can do. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to our material, put in the canvas item, and I want this to actually add it. Now, with just white on white, you're not going to notice. So let's go to our color, and let's pick a slightly more greeny color, and you'll notice it's still white. Again,
because of the
values
adding,
are being
right?
added. You can't get higher than 1. 1 is white, right? Well, actually, we're adding 1, 1, and 1. Red, green, and blue. You're getting white. Okay, so now let's go and go to angular velocity. And we're going to say you're going to have angular velocity of 360. That is fully random. Let's make this a little easier to see what we're doing. Let's say I want my background color or my clear color. Oops, there we go. Clear color. Let's put that as black just so we can see what we're doing. So we already have a nice little computer effect. Now there's things we can do to make this better, right? Let's just have 2 for now. And we've got this little lens effect happening. Let's say we don't want that kind of time. Let's say we want a 4-second one. And maybe the angular velocity is too fast. Let's just put it as 90.
I like that.
Right? And then we go to the angle, and we'll say we're going to start at 360 degrees from our normal starting point. Can't see any difference, but that's okay because we can go over here. Now, this image is very blocky, right? I just made a very small thing with a brush using a pencil tool. So it doesn't look great, but already we're starting to get some cool stuff. But what if we don't just have this color? Let's go to our gradients and the new gradient, and you'll notice it's fading in because it's starting at black. Let's say we don't want to start at black. Let's say we're going to start at a dark green, and I'm going to come up to a sort of teal color. Right? So just by having a little thing and saying, I want this kind of camera random lens effect, and saying, well, okay, so what's that involved? I've got my image. I only need a couple of them. I'm going to overlay them so that they are semi-transparent. And that's what we're going to do. And then it's just, I need an angular velocity. I'm going to put some randomness in it, an angle, put some randomness in it, maybe a little color variant, and then just put this on add. How does it look on mix? Dull. Right? All the magic's gone. But with add, we're getting a lot of that interplay. But maybe we're not doing this in tech. Maybe.
Oh, you just made Stargate. You have literally just made a Stargate. Nice.
Right?
Just
and right now it's randomized, so it's got to speed up and slow down and stuff. And there's all kinds of other stuff you can do.
If you got some of those hieroglyphs or symbols, or maybe some sort of Nordic symbology, you know, those going around there as well, that would look absolutely amazing.
Yep. But yeah, it's just, you know, this is just an abstract brush I found. Or let's try this one.
Look into
that one doesn't look quite as good. That's off center. And it's interesting because these aren't regular shapes, the illusion doesn't work, right? But if we do something like this,
yes, it does work when you've got symmetry.
Right.
It's probably symmetry it boils down to.
Because we're randomly rotating. So that's a nice little sort of cybernetic effect. Let's make something different. You said you want an explosion, Mikey.
Yeah, I like blowing up things.
Let's stick with 2D for now. And I need my new particles material and new texture. Oh, one thing, by the way, normal map. You can put in normals and have lighting and have the texture play with it. Let's start with something simple. Let's go with a smudgy circle. And I'm going to turn off gravity because I don't want gravity. And let's say I want lots and lots of these. I'm going to do 256, and I'm just going to come out. Now, right now, we just have our sun. Great. Let's go to radial, and I want maximum thing. And it's not happening because I need to go to emission shape and go to sphere. Now, if I widen that to beyond the size of the circle, I think the circle is 128, it starts looking a bit more like a sun, right? Now, let's put in a little bit of movement.
Starting to look very much like a thruster at this point.
I was just thinking that, right? Okay, so we have our radial acceleration, and we can make that a little less thingy. But this isn't an explosion, right? This is like a sun. In fact, let's make it even more so. We're going to use our canvas item trick and go to add. I'm going to go to color, and we want a color ramp, new gradient. I'm going to start at a sort of red. I'm going to come up to a sort of that. That actually is a terrible color. And we'll come down to a sort of orange. Yeah, that's fine.
Nice.
So we have ourselves a sun, but we don't want a sun. We want an explosion. And for that, we're going to go all the way to the top. I'm going to go to time. I'm going to turn explosiveness to 1. Now, these are too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my scale. And just turn the particle size down. Okay, so right now it's not quite working. Let's turn the
a longer life, yeah.
But even that doesn't work, right? So if I do this as a one shot, that's not really an explosion. Run that. So things we can do. Let's take it off one shot for now so we can see it running. We can go over to our radial. Let's turn that off and give it a curve. And we're going to have our minimum at 0, our maximum at 200. And I'm going to go to here and just go, and then have it damp down again, right? And this is a Bezier curve, so we can tweak how
if you
goes.
ramp it up very quickly at the beginning, it'll have that bang effect.
Well, in fact, we don't need to do that. We could just, there we go. Remove that point.
Nice.
Okay, so that's working, but we have a problem, right? It's just coming to an end. So let's go over to our orange at the end here.
There we go. It's fading out.
And now let's go back to our lifetime. Actually, let's not go to lifetime. Let's go speed scale.
Set it to 6 or 8.
6 seconds? Oh, you mean 6 times the speed?
Yeah, I want a really big boom.
To do that, what we could do, let's go to our curve.
Ah, yes, of course.
Now you'll notice they're all on one big ring. Let's go to explosiveness and turn it down to 0.75.
Oh.
Yeah. And let's also put in some randomness on the lifetime.
And probably them all starting at the same time for an explosion.
More or less. Like this feels more like a jump drive, right? But if we go to 0.9, yeah. Or maybe we don't want that. Maybe we want it back like this as a one shot. I don't think this looks like an explosion. Yep.
Roderick has said another Stargate show confirmed when we were working on it. Render,
I'm a big fan of
Render.
Stargate Universe. I don't care what the fans say. I love that show. And I know everyone's going, it's not original Stargate. I know. They tried to make Battlestar, but it was still a fun show.
It was. Render says he's getting Spirograph vibes from some.
Yeah. It's very much like playing with Spirograph. That's a great way.
Am I dating myself with that reference? Possibly.
Could be. I think we can actually make this look a little bit more interesting.
Of course, you can extend. I love that about Bezier curves.
Right.
So one thing to obviously to bear in mind in here is a lot of these values that go from 0 to 1, I presume, are just the beginning of the particle system and the end of the particle system. Its lifespan, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, we could go to negative 600 and do this. In fact, because they're accelerating, that's not going to work. So let's drop you down to here and drop you down to here. And let's have our minimum value of minus 1200. Okay, that's our maximum. So bring that in, and we should see it start pulling back in at the end.
Yes. Nice.
So what happens if we do this?